Well, the Kano State Anti-Corruption and Public Complaints Commission says it has filed fresh charges of corruption and maladministration against the ex-governor of the state, Abdullahi Ganduje. Magaji alleged that the Ganduje government took 1 billion naira from the state coffers a month to the expiration of the administration's tenure in May of 2023, but the money was sent to Bureau de Change operators and not used for road renovation as earmarked. Magaji also said that he was appointed by Ganduje to head the agency. He won't hesitate to prosecute alleged corruption by immediate past administration officials in the state. And in a related development, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission have declared the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, wanted in connection with alleged cases of money laundering to the tune of 80.2 billion naira. The commission had informed a federal high court in Abuja of the possibility of engaging the Nigerian army in effecting the arrest of Bello if it considered it an option. Well, for this conversation, we now turn to Abubakar Yesufu, the lawyer and former spokesperson for the defunct Presidential Campaign Council of NNPP. Good to have you back here on Arise, and good afternoon.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here again.
Well, from the intro I read, the army to be deployed in order to wrangle the former governor. What do you make of all of this drama that unfolded last week regarding the White Lion?
Yeah. Well, let me first of all start from the first question you posed. I'm not in sympathy with the prosecutor's opinion to deploy the army, because this is not the realm of the army. We are still going to look for the White Lion, and wherever he may be, he's going to be smoked out and he's going to face the music as ordered by the law. So that is one. Then secondly, I'm also miffed by the spate of defense that is now assaulting our sensibilities both in the mainstream media and social media. People are coming up to defend the White Lion, to use your sobriquet, and thereby stigmatizing the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. This is hilarious, and that is why I'm here to actually, not on behalf of my party necessarily, I'm also the chairman, League of Patriotic Lawyers, but to give the necessary vent and defense to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that they have really committed no crime. They did not exceed the bounds of decency in hunting down the White Lion, Yahaya Bello, properly so called. Don't forget that these people campaigning for the defense and for the condemnation of the EFCC, they are really not too versatile with what is involved. If you will permit me, the ground norm of our law is the Nigerian Constitution. Let me, within a minute, go to section 35, subsection 1C. You know, people quote verbatim the Constitution, the general application of the Constitution, like right to life. But they do not talk of the exception. Right to life has exception. If you have committed a crime and the penalty is death, you face the hangman. So this section has to do with fair hearing. Yes, I agree. But look at section 35C. For the purpose of bringing, that's an exception, bringing anybody before a court in execution of the order of a court or upon reasonable suspicion of his having committed a criminal offense, or to such extent as may be reasonably necessary to prevent his committing a criminal offense. Despite the fact that you have this right, fair hearing thing, but if you are wanted by any court of law in Nigeria, you are supposed to submit yourself to the jurisdiction of that court. Suffice it to say that these campaigners, these megaphones and microphones of official falsehood or official misinterpretation, they normally rely wholly on the decision of the decision of Kogi High Court, which in the first place has no jurisdiction, being a high court. The normal place, the normal court that ought to have assumed jurisdiction or taken care of this is the Federal High Court in Abuja. And the EFCC has done the obvious. They have also gone to that place to file an appeal, which is pending. I guess the decision will come out tomorrow. one would have expected Yaya Bello to also reciprocate the good effort of the EFCC by going to the Federal High Court to submit himself to the jurisdiction of that court. Don't forget that those people supporting Yaya Bello, they have come up with the idea that even the charge sheet is faulty, which means they have even seen the charge sheet. So by that interpretation, they have even submitted themselves to the jurisdiction of the court. There's no need, once a statute is clear, you don't need to go on a voyage of discovery. I will just give you two cases. Ojikalu versus Inspector General Police and Uwazurike versus Inspector General Police. I'm going to read only the locus classicals of that judgment, what the court said about trying to stampede or trying to unnecessarily jettison the powers of the court to investigate. With your leave, I read thus. The Supreme Court had pointed out that the order of a high court to the effect that the criminal suspect should not be arrested cannot bar a court of coordinate jurisdiction from trying him. In case of Ojikalu versus Federal Republic of Nigeria, the appellant challenged the FCC for charging him before the Federal High Court in spite of the order of the High Court of Abia, restraining the anti-graft agency. In dismissing the appeal, the Supreme Court said that the gagging order should not be allowed to stand at all. The suit of the appellant at Abia High Court and the general and ambiguous order made therein were intended to muzzle or prevent the first respondent, that's the FCC, from discharging his statutory function. Then what's the case? It's even more clear. The Supreme Court held that the order of an Owerri Federal High Court made on the 18th of January 2005 restraining the named respondent for arresting Wazirike relates to the proceedings before the Owerri Federal High Court. The orders are in no way related, nor do they affect or stop a subsequent arraignment of Wazirike for treason. What I see in this transaction for one of the better world, is that corruption is fighting back. You know, those who know the current chairman of the EFCC, they know what it stands for. Don't forget that if corruption wants to fight back, they want to remove the carpet right from your jurisdiction. Look at the case of the first chairman of EFCC. Can you remind me of that name?
Nuhu Ribadu.
Nuhu Ribadu. When they wanted to take the carpet off his feet, in fact, they followed the police. They jettisoned this promotion until the man was hustled into exile. And the same thing with Magu. That is what exactly they want to do to the young budding chairman of the EFCC. This is a man that has barely stayed about 100 days in office, and he has been able to recover 70 billion naira, including about $10 million in favor of the public funds.
Wow.
So if we don't, and he has done many other things, but it's not my intention to really highlight all those things now because I'm not the megaphone for the EFCC. But that is not to say that they do not have their own shortcomings. So we all must come together to ensure that corruption does not subsume, does not kill the EFCC. Just think of what was operating in our system before 1999. How would you have justified the governor going to Panti or going to Zone 2 or going to Alagmo to report after leaving office? We must try and protect the sanctity and the powers of the EFCC. Otherwise, we are going to be retrogressing into what we have lived, or better still, what we have left behind, so to say.
Well, I'd like to shift your attention, to what's happening in Kano State, where we understand that the government is probing Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje's terms in office. Some believe it's just a means to settle political scores between Ganduje and Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. One of his aides, that's one of Ganduje's aides, said that, he's not the only person that has governed the state. So why can't they expand the probe from 2011 to 2023 for a more holistic probe? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it was indeed Benito Mussolini, the father of fascism, who said on the 29th of April, 1945, shortly before he was executed at Villa Bermont, that, quote, "Every man dies a death that befits his character. No man can deny fate twice." Ganduje represents that figure. Ganduje, you will realize, or Ganduje better put, you realize that he forced the former governor of Central Bank, Sanusi, to abdicate his throne. Ganduje has been sponsoring dissension against the new government in Kano. But that does not relate to the crime. The crime they committed. I'm sure you are witnesses when you are witness to the fact when he decided to stack his barbaric guy with dollars. That is not even associated to this. This is a very precipitate offense that has to do with over 50 billion. I saw in your screen production just now, you were saying 1 billion. No, it's more than that. The total funds is about 100 billion. And my boss, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, will not yield to any form of blackmail or intimidation. We are going to unseal that indictment, and we are going to ensure that Ganduje is pursued and, if need be, jailed for the offense against the people of Kano near Nigeria, and nothing more pretentious.
Wow, that's a lot. But what do you make of the claims that the NNPP is meddling in the affairs of the APC in order to settle past political scores, as Timi Tokpa mentioned before, while at the same time clearing out what might be considered excess corruption? Is it two birds with one stone?
Well, if we talk about the hex of the skullduggery, financial skullduggery committed by Ganduje, we might not be able to live here. Ganduje, like you know, sold the praying ground in Kano State. Ganduje, like you know, sold the hockey center. Ganduje, like you know, Muzzle Triumph. Triumph was even more popular than your Vanguard and Tribune you have here. So we are recovering all these things from him. It's not that fund does not belong to my boss, Dr. Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, nor to my mentor, Buba Galadima. Belongs to the people of Kano and to Nigerians. We are going to pursue him, and we are not going to relent. We are going to be systematic in our approach, and indeed we are going to be unyielding in our demands.
I'm just going to follow up, on what Hawa said. There's this allegation that the NNPP is meddling with the affairs of the APC in Kano State, that it is the NNPP orchestrating the ward suspension of Ganduje in Kano State. Can you react to that one?
It's not true at all. You see, right from inception, Ganduje has pursued relentlessly the idea of killing NNPP at its infancy. Dr. Musa Rabi Kwankwaso is the undeniable leader of North. Before this the last judgment of the Supreme Court, which absorbed the NNPP, Ganduje has been going through the country, campaigning and trying to recruit people that would ensure that the party is sinking. If I tell you something now, you probably would not believe that even the internal wrangling we are having in the party is traceable to Ganduje. I say this because I'm a member of the Konkonsia movement, and even the letter suspending Ganduje indefinitely from the party was signed by me. Indeed, it was a letter for expulsion, but Kwankwaso, like is a father figure. He approached me because I was very furious that we still believe that Ganduje will trace his steps to where he started from, because he was brought up by Kwankwaso. I'm sure you will agree with me that before Kwankwaso brought him to limelight, nobody knew about Ganduje. Kwankwaso, is not only the two-term governor of the state. He was also anointed the minister of defense by Obasanjo. You hate or like Obasanjo, you will not be able to take away this idea of hunting good heads for the country. And he was also the former envoy to Somalia and Darfur. He has a very robust and enduring character. So he's very busy with his project, trying to rehabilitate aspects of school children and all that. He has no time for Ganduje. We are the people pursuing Ganduje, and he's even pleading for Ganduje. And except Ganduje comes to Kano and plead, and if he pleads, perhaps we take him through the manuals that he has missed in Konkonsia lectures, and we can't absorb him. Ganduje is a very light-hearted and open person.
So is it a case of if he comes back to the NNPP, all sins will be forgiven? Is that what you're saying?
We are not even forcing him to come to the NNPP. If he generally comes back to say that all those attempts to drown NNPP were done in bad faith, I know Ganduje, he will reabsorb him. Wow. And he will become his friend. And maybe, just maybe, subject to, the end of this decision, and subject to his being very, repentant, we probably will be able to subsume. But as it stands, we are not going to turn around, and our pursuit of that case remains undiminished.
Well, on that note, we would like to thank you once again, Barrister Abubakar Yesufu, for joining us for this very interesting conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.